Welcome, Fearless Fundraisers. Always good to be here with you at Your Nonprofit Power with Amy Fazio. Here we talk all things growing your nonprofit, things that make creating more money, creating more mission, building your community so much easier. I am so excited about today's show. We've invited in Dana, the CEO from Grants Plus, who's going to be a speaker at the Fearless Fundraising Forum happening October 20 and 21st. Do you have your seat? Did you register? Get your free spot. You want to lock it in now because we're going to have a great lineup of speakers, including Grants Plus. Dana's going to be here to talk to us about trends in grant making. I can't wait to introduce her on the show and answer all your questions about the event and to learn more about Dana and Grants Plus. So let's welcome her onto stage now. Welcome, Dana. Great to see you.
Hi, Amy. Nice to see you too.
Always good to be with you. I absolutely love when I have the chance to work with your team over at Grants Plus. You guys do incredible work for your clients and really becoming members of their team.
Thank you, Amy. Yes, and I feel like it's been now, I can't even count how many years we've been able to collaborate. So I'm excited to be here today and be part of this awesome forum that you have put together.
Well, I'm always proud to partner with you in Grants Plus. Dana, let's get this started. I want to congratulate you first and foremost. A big announcement on behalf of Grants Plus. Welcome you on board as a big promotion as the new CEO of the organization.
Thank you. Yes, it's hard to believe. It's actually been almost 10 years since I joined Grants Plus. I had a career in the nonprofit sector, doing fundraising on the ground, just like all of your listeners. And I joined Grants Plus 10 years almost ago and have been in every spot in the company, working with clients, working behind the scenes. And now I am so proud to be CEO and lead us into the future.
Yeah, such a great team. Tell us a little bit about Grants Plus and what you're most excited about.
Sure. So we are a team of grant-seeking professionals. So like many firms, we are a fundraising firm, but we focus specifically on grants. And that includes both public grants, so federal, state, other government grants, as well as private grants from private foundations and corporate foundations. And what we do is we act as a partner to nonprofit organizations. So when they are thinking about how they can boost their grant-seeking revenues, they're thinking about how to go after maybe a very competitive federal grant, how to be more thoughtful and strategic in building relationships with grant funders. They call on us to be their partner, and our team becomes their team to help them think bigger, think smarter, be more strategic, and ultimately be more successful in getting grants.
Awesome.
And you know, Amy, I think what's a little bit different from when we talked a few years ago is that our team has really grown. We have members of our team in over, I think now over 11 states. And so we're a nationwide team, really comfortable working in the virtual space, and we work with nonprofit organizations all across the country. So that's been really exciting.
All across the country and in different industries as well, you know, different topics and themes.
Yeah. Different industries, from museums and universities to community organizations doing work in their local areas. So a wide array.
Yeah, I love it. One of the issues you and I talk a lot about, and I think we're going to be covering this in your session during the Fearless Fundraising, is how do you really approach foundations as partners, you know, and not just the behind
ATM machine.
Right, the man behind the screen, wizard behind the screen, right? They're real people, and they're your partner. Do you find that to be a common theme with nonprofits, that they have trouble seeing their funders as true partners?
Well, I don't know if I'd say that overwhelmingly. I think that nonprofits have a hard time. I think that when you're caught up in all the mechanics of fundraising for your organization, it can just be overwhelming. And I do think that it's important to keep front and center just what you just said, which is that grants may be made by institutions, but these are people behind behind the curtain at a foundation. And I think what organizations are smart to keep in mind is that foundations have their own missions. Foundations, of course, they have to make grants. They are legally bound to give money away, but they can make choices about how and to whom and when and how much they're going to give. And organizations can help themselves be more successful by really putting themselves in the shoes of the funder and thinking about, what does this funder care about? How do I demonstrate that I'm going to help, through my organization, this funder bring their mission alive in the world?
Dana, this is why I love working with you and your team. This is the fun part about fundraising, and I can't wait to dig in even deeper. But the truth is, when you can approach your individual donors, your foundation donors, your government partners, your corporate donors, and really go into those calls saying, how can I help you achieve your goals?
Yeah, how can I help you? And yet, I just think it is important that we also challenge a little bit that idea that, kind of when you go into a store and the customer's always right. Well, but the store is full of employees, and we need to be respectful and mindful of those employees too. And it's the same when it comes to organizations. It's not only about putting ourselves in the funder's shoes to say what's important to you. We also want funders, and we're seeing some funders start to ask that question back to their grantees. When a funder says to the grantee, tell me what you are seeing on the ground. Yeah. Tell me, knowing the community like you do, what is most important, and how can we as a foundation help you fulfill that purpose? That is where we find this intersection of trust-based grant making, trust-based grant seeking, where truly the grantee and the grantor is looking to one another as partners and is finding that magic that happens in the middle of both of those missions.
I really love that. And I think that is the true art of negotiation, is both parties, or all parties, coming to the table. What do I need and how can I help? And really answering both sides of that conversation. You guys do such a great job of facilitating those relationships. So I absolutely love that about your work. Grantsplus.com is the website for folks who'd like some more information before our event happens next week. We're talking about trends in grant making, and I know we're going to be talking about some pretty interesting things next week, including how movement in the social justice arena has changed, and how COVID has changed things. Yeah. I know, Dana, I get calls all the time from nonprofits. I need help with grants, because sometimes they think that's the next step to get them to sustainability, but that's not always true, is it?
Well, I think it is important to take the opportunity to assess if your organization is grant ready. And the reason for that is we do see that grant seeking is becoming more competitive. So within the last year or so, we have seen grant funding continue to rise, though it has not kept up with inflation. And that's across the board in terms of when we look at giving. The Giving USA report looked at how has giving gone up and down, and it's going up, but not keeping up with inflation. But what we see on the other side is that more organizations are prioritizing grant seeking. So there is more competition. There are more organizations saying, hey, we need to be in the grants game. And that means that it's all the more important that organizations be ready, be proactive, and remember that this is a competitive arena. So I do think that like anything else, but maybe especially with grants, there's an opportunity cost, and the time and the effort and the inputs that are required to go after grants can be high, especially if you're just starting out. If you're just beginning to go after grants, you have to have the stomach for some rejection. You have to have a tolerance and some patience, because no one owes you a grant. And so there is a lot that organizations can do to make sure they're ready to step into that space. And there's plenty that we can talk about what that means. But I do think it's a competitive sport. So, you want to make sure that you're fit to play.
I love, no one owes you a grant. I love that. And I think that's where we're really going to pick up next week when we talk at the Fearless Fundraising Forum, because I have heard that language. We're such a good organization. I can't believe we didn't get it.
Or even, I get a lot of calls, and they're from really wonderful, beautiful people with wonderful, beautiful ideas. And they're ready. They want those grants, but I think it can, when I say no one owes you a grant, it really is that you have to demonstrate to that funder that this is a ship that is sailing, because they want to board a sound ship. So there's lots of ways that organizations can shore up those vessels before they set out.
Lots of ways we can shore up those vessels so that we really are an attractive investment for folks. I really love that, and I can't wait to dig in on those ways. Follow Grants Plus on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I know I'm a follower and fan on both of those places. We'll add the links down below. Register for the Fearless Fundraising Forum so you can join Dana and I as we continue the discussion on what are those steps to shore up your proposal to attract those foundations and those partners, because they really are the path to quantum growth as you get ready for that. Dana, anything else you'd like to share with fundraisers out there? Maybe a tidbit of information you wish somebody told you earlier on in your fundraising career?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. And I think what's interesting is when I stepped into fundraising, the very first thing I did was I wrote a grant proposal, and I was excited about the realization that my writing skills could be deployed in the area of fundraising. But what I soon learned as I moved into major gifts fundraising and working with individual donors is that it's all about relationships. And the very best grant proposal in the world is not going to get the grant if you haven't taken steps to build connection and to build trust with funders, because again, they are people too. So that's something I'm eager to spend some more time talking about, is what does it look like to have brave conversations as a grantee to help funders understand the opportunity that you present to them to invest in your mission, and how fundraisers can deploy both their relationship strengths and their writing strengths to be successful in winning grants.
I love it. Brave conversations with your funders. It gets so much more fun, and the relationships go so much deeper, and the impact is so much greater for these awesome nonprofits. 1.5 million roughly nonprofits in the United States. So
wow.
Competitive is a fair, I think competitive is a fair assessment. I love that. It's all about the relationships, and we really need to keep encouraging our nonprofit leaders out there to understand what that looks like in government, in grants, in individual major gifts, and even. Thank you so much, Dana. Thanks for being with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the Fearless Fundraising Forum happening October 20 and 21st. Check out the speaker lineup so you don't miss Dana's session, which I believe is happening on Friday. And hey, keep it fearless out there. Thank you, Dana. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Can't wait.
Talk soon.